Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Good afternoon all. Welcome to another series of workshop. This is our final workshop this semester. All right. Now you realize that this workshop is on EPT, English Placement Test. And this workshop is to guide you for writing or analysis of data, which is the task 1 of the English placement test. Okay, this is also actually useful as a guideline for those who are in level 1 up to level 6 for their achievement tests. All right. So we are very grateful today to have Madam Azura Abdul Razak, who is one of the lecturers in CELPAT, very experienced in teaching writing and also test setting, for exam papers. I would like to welcome her to deliver and share her knowledge on how, or give tips on how to actually write for data analysis. But before we proceed, let's begin our session with the recitation of Al-Fatiha. Okay, you can leave your questions right after the presentation, or you can type on the chat box. We are also live via YouTube. So if you have questions on YouTube, we try to entertain you later. Okay, I will leave the floor or the screen to Madam Azura to share her talk on data analysis. Madam Azura.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Nur Amili. So I'm Madam Azura. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like it if we can make it like an interactive session, meaning that when I ask you questions, please answer. All right, make sure that you can even have your cameras on if you want, because this is something that we had not gone through for throughout the semester, data analysis, because it's not going to come out for your final assessments, but it will come out for your EPT. And as you know, the EPT will be 4 components: writing, reading, listening, and speaking. And this is the first task to your writing assessment. Okay, so this is something that you should, know about. This is something that you have to practice. All right, we have been practicing writing throughout the semester, yes, but there are certain techniques when it comes to writing a data analysis. But before I proceed with my slides, I just want to ask all of you, did you do your MUET? Have you done your MUET? Because if you've done your MUET, then you have done data analysis. Can someone share me their experience when they were doing their MUET and the data analysis there? Anybody? I see some of my students here just now. Shasha, are you there? Is everyone too shy to talk here?
Okay, Assalamualaikum and good evening.
Welcome, salam, yes.
If I try to recall back what I have been done before in MUET, I still remember that there's still 2 figures in one question. Which is the first one will be in bar chart or maybe pie chart, and the figure 2 will be in schedule, in timetable.
The table, right? Yeah.
Yes, I think the slightly difference is we don't have to do synthesis.
Right, that's right. It will be easier, okay, than MUET. If you have done your MUET, you will find this easy.
Yes, maybe because I'm get to use with MUET writing style, so I think I need to make myself comfortable with new experience in writing.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. What is your name, by the way?
My name is Nurfatina bin Talib. I forgot to change my name. after the tilawah examination.
Okay.
So yeah.
Fatiha, is it? Fatiha.
Fatin Liana, sorry.
Fatin Liana. Okay, Fatin. All right. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's correct. Because in Moet, there's one graph and one table, and you have to synthesize it. Okay, you have to see how, you know, they correlate with one another. But Alhamdulillah, for data analysis in EPT, you do not need to do that. Okay, what you have to do, you are just going to look at a graph. Okay, so it could be any type of graph. It could be a pie chart. It could be a line graph. It could be a bar graph. Okay, and usually, I'm not going to promise you, but usually there's only one, and you're going to analyze this one specific graph. All right.
Yes.
Some semesters ago, we did have compare and contrast between two pie charts, but that is very rare. But just be ready for anything. Okay, but the point here is that you will not need to synthesize. You do not need to correlate the ideas between a chart and a table. You're only going to analyze one chart in about 150 words. So do you think that's easy or hard? Can you tell me?
I think it's much easier. Just need to keep up with the words.
That's right, the vocabulary and all that. Yeah, because for task 1, it is technical. Okay, it's not free writing like task 2. So this is what I want to share with all of you today. So again, like Madam Amelie said just now, if you have any questions, you can write it out in the chat box and someone will direct me to it. Or you can ask me, you know, say that it is very important for you to ask me at that moment in time, go ahead and ask me. Okay, but if it can wait, then wait until the end of the sharing and then we can do the Q&A session. Is that okay with all of you?
Yes, I'm okay with that.
All right, good. Alhamdulillah. Okay, let me share my screen with you now. Okay, so let's write a data analysis here. Okay, so this is the organization of the slides today. The first thing is we're going to look at the structure of a data analysis. And then I'm going to, how are you going to introduce or organize your data analysis? The third part will be planning your analysis. Number 4 we will be talking about the vocabulary. Number 5, we'll be talking about the sentence patterns. Number 6, we're going to answer task 1. So that will be hands-on. Okay, I will give you a graph and you will need to participate, okay, one of you or a few of you, in order to see whether or not you have grasped the concept of task 1. And lastly, we're going to do error analysis. So we're going to look into some very common errors that students do and that you should avoid doing, all right? Okay, so this is the structure. All right, so a data analysis can be written either in 1 paragraph or in 3 paragraphs. Okay, but remember that there are 3 parts to a data analysis. Okay, it has to have an introduction and it has to have an analysis. Okay, the conclusion may or may not be there. Some students do not put a conclusion. That is actually fine. All right, but technically, okay, a conclusion should be there when you're doing a writing. So the conclusion is very short. It's just about 1 sentence long. All right, but at the same time, this can be broken up into 3 different paragraphs. So because a data analysis is only about 150 words long, it will be 3 very short paragraphs. Okay, but just because it's short, it doesn't mean that it is not comprehensive, okay? You have to make sure that you're writing very concisely, but at the same time, all the information that are needed must be there, okay? So with a structure, it's either 3 parts written in 1 paragraph or 3 parts written in 3 different paragraphs. Both are okay, okay? Both are okay, but you have to have your introduction, you have to have the analysis, and optionally, you can have a short conclusion. Okay. Now, for the introduction, okay, paraphrase the question. What does the data show? Okay, what does the data show? And then give the overview. What is the general trend or what is the general pattern of the graph? Okay, so what do I mean by what does the data show? Okay, the data shows activities in online activities of 18-year-olds in town A. You can say that. And what is the general pattern? You can say that generally the 18-year-olds like to go online 8 p.m. onwards, something like that. Okay, for example. Okay, now, so after that, you're going to describe one group of data. So introduce what it is. Okay, and then you provide a bit of the details. Okay, and then you're going to describe the other group of data. Okay, and then you're going to paraphrase your overview. And paraphrasing overview, this will double as your conclusion. All right, and this is how you get the introduction, the analysis, and the conclusion. So look at that, there's two descriptions of data here. Okay, because your analysis will carry maybe the bulk of the marks as compared to the overview, that conclusion part there. Okay. So for your introduction, before we start, we have to ask ourselves, okay, how do you begin to analyze this data? Okay, now which tenses must be used? Okay, tenses can be very confusing. What information should you include and what information should be left out? Okay, because if you look at a data, a graph, there'll be many things there and you cannot write about everything. Okay, you have to pick and choose. So which one is better to be picked than the rest? Okay, which aspects do you want to look into? Okay, now there are also things here that you have to do, okay, before you start analyzing. Okay, hold on, okay. You have to fully fulfill the task, okay? So the first thing you do is you have to understand the task. What is it that we want from you? Okay, and you have to answer it completely. There must be coherence, okay? You have to use sequencing words or else it'll be like jumpy, right? Like a frog jumping from here to there. So you have to have the words firstly, secondly, thirdly, in addition, however, okay? Words like that must be there. You have to have good vocabulary. The range must be wide. You cannot use the same words over and over again. Okay, try to have that wide range of vocabulary. And for your sentence structure, and it has got to be concise, but not too simple. So meaning that you cannot write everything in just simple sentences. You have to be able to write in complex or different types of sentences so that everything will make sense academically, sounds academic. Okay, and the last part is for the language input, you have to make sure that you're using the correct tenses. Okay, so as I am talking about this, if you have any questions, please write them down so you can ask me later, all right? Now, which tense do you use? All right, so here you have the present tense to describe the chart. Use the past tense to describe things in the chart that have passed. Okay, so say that there are dates there, 2018, 19, 20. When you're describing things that are in the past, make sure that everything is written in the past tense. Use present perfect, okay, to describe issues that have started in the past, but until now it is going on, okay? And future tense, okay, for information after today. Sometimes in a graph, you will see that it does not end in 2022, it ends in 2025. There is a forecast, okay? You have to be able to look into the future somehow, right? So when you have that, right, you are going to use the future tense, okay? You have to make sure that you really observe the year or years used in the graph or the chart. So the current year, okay, 2022, you put the present tense. For past years, you put the past tense. So when you want to describe the chart, okay, you use the present tense. For example, the chart depicts. Okay, you don't say the chart depicted. It's still in front of you, okay? The chart depicts. Okay, you should also include an analysis of information provided, and of course, the description of numbers, figures, which are the percentages, the currency, people, etc. So what is it that we want to disclose that you're going to talk about? You have to make sure that what are they? Are they numbers? Is it in percentages or is it in actual numbers? Is it a currency? Does it talk about people? Okay, so make sure that you have all that set. And what else? You should also use either the symbol or words for description of numbers and figures. For example, RM10 or 10 ringgit Malaysia, percent or percent in one, and you have to use the percentage. Okay, the percentage sign here. Okay, what you should not do is that we don't want you to describe everything. We don't want you to list, to state all the information there. This is not a descriptive writing exercise. This is an analysis. So you have to be able to pick and choose what you want to talk about, okay? And you have to analyze it, not describe it. We'll go into this later. Okay, so now let's plan your analysis. So identify the overall trend, if any. Sometimes graphs do not have trends, but usually they do. Okay, but what is a trend? So a trend is an upward or downward shift in a data set over a time. Okay, so if you have a data that, if you see that it either goes up and down, or it just goes up all the way or down all the way, then this is the trend. Okay, this is the trend. But if you see a pie chart, then it's kind of hard to see a trend unless, well, yeah, pie charts don't have trends, I think. Okay, they usually don't have trends. So if there's a graph, this is when you see that there is a trend there. So you have to identify the main trends for each mode, if there is one. And then you have to identify the big increases or the small or the decreases. So these are the ones that really pop out to you. Okay, which one pops up to you? And this is the one that you are going to talk about. So what you're going to do is you're going to group them together. Remember the first few slides just now, it was stated that for the first analysis, second analysis. So first analysis, maybe you can talk about the large increases. The second analysis, you could talk about the large decreases if there are any. Okay, now look at this one here. Is there a trend? Okay, the graph below illustrates the number of times Sister Anissa, Sister Alicia, and Sister Alia ordered food through the Grab app in 4 days. Okay, now Anissa is in red, Alicia is in blue, and Alia is in green. Now, can any of you tell me whether there is a trend here?
Anissa and Alia experience an upward trend.
Upward trend, is it? Anissa is red, okay. Okay, Anissa first, it was like down and then it went upwards, okay. And Alia, right, Alia, yes, it went upwards. On Monday, Tuesday, it was kind of like stable and then went up. How about for Alicia? What kind of trend do you see for Alicia?
Fluctuating.
Right, very good, Shasha. Fluctuating trend, very good. Okay, so this is what a trend is about. Does it go up? Does it go down? Okay, does it increase? Does it decrease? Does it fluctuate? So if you see like a wave-like thing, this is called a fluctuation. It goes up and down. Okay, let's look at this one here. This following graph illustrates Brother Jamal, Brother Tahir, Brother Halim's shopping expenditure for different personal items during the 12/12 sale, because this was done in December. Okay, so do you see a trend there? And I want you to look at the figures as well, yeah? The key says Jamal is red, Tahir is purple, Halim is blue, and the items purchased are perfume, books, gadgets, and clothes. And the amount spent, minimum of 0 and the maximum of 700. So if you look at this graph here, can you see a trend?
Yes, Tahir experiencing downward trend.
Tahir, yes, that's right. Okay, it goes down. What's that just now? I didn't catch your name, sorry.
My name is Fatin.
Oh, yeah, the W3. Okay. How about the rest of you? Do you see any trends here?
Halim went up.
Halim is?
Went up.
It goes up, right? It increases,
Yeah.
But it goes down, it goes back down, doesn't it? You can say that his expenditure for gadgets increased a lot before it went, before it dropped again to 300 ringgit when it comes to clothes. Okay, he likes to buy gadgets. All right, but here, notice that. Yeah, there is that trend where they spent the same for perfume, but for gadgets, there's a huge difference between Jamal's expenditure and Halim's expenditure, isn't it? Okay, that is also something that you can look into as well. But let's compare this one, all right? This is 4 days. Okay, this is 4 days. So there is like a time frame here. So when it comes to time frame, you can see that there is a dynamic movement in the trend. This one is 1 day. Okay, so you see that this is a static graph. This is not a dynamic graph. So can you see that there is a trend? Anyone? Maybe you can, okay, because there is a set pattern, all right? But when it comes to a dynamic graph, okay, dynamic graph are graphs that have time frames. So this is 4 days. You will see that it's easier for you to identify the trend than what you have with a static graph, okay? Because a static graph, it happens just during one moment of time, okay? So you can say that they share the same pattern when it comes to perfume, but the pattern is not the same when it comes to gadgets. Okay, so I wouldn't really use the word trend here. I would probably use the word pattern. Okay, but we will get to this as we go along as well. All right. Okay, now which data can be grouped? Okay, data which only shows 2 groups. Data which is very familiar. Oops, hold on. Sorry about that. Okay, there's wind here now. Data which shows similar patterns and data which is unique. Okay, now, if we look at this one here, which data can we group?
Perfume?
Yeah, perfume, that's right. Perfume can be grouped. What can you say about the perfume?
State the number.
Yep, same number, the same number, that's right. All of them spent 300 ringgit. And what other data can you group here, which is, kind of unusual?
Gadgets.
Gadget, that's right, Shasha, gadgets. Okay, because for gadget, you can see there's a huge difference between what Jamal spent and what Halim spent. So this can be grouped together as well. Okay, so 1 group, 2 groups. So look at this here. The data can be very similar as in perfume, or the data can be unique as in gadgets. Okay, so you can actually just talk about these 2 things when it comes to a data analysis. You don't have to write about all 4 items here. Okay, because if you write about who bought perfume, who bought books, who bought gadgets, who bought clothes, that's too many things that you want to talk about. Okay, so the focus here can be on those, the data which is very similar. So in this case, it is perfume, or the data which is obviously very different, which is the gadgets. Another aspect of this, what other things can you talk about when you're looking at a graph like this? How else can you group the items? Can anyone tell me?
Highest, lowest.
What, Mayor?
Highest trend and lowest trend.
Highest and lowest, that's right. Okay, that was some similar to the gadgets thing just now. Okay, you can also group them into, let's see, what else? Okay, maybe just focus on what Halim bought versus what Jamal bought. Okay, there's also another way of doing it. When it comes to data analysis, there's not one set way. It's up to you which data you want to choose and how you will analyze it. Okay, so just make sure that you don't choose everything. You have to pick whichever one you feel is the most appropriate for you. So if I were going to write a data analysis here, I would write about the perfume and the gadgets, because one is, it's exactly the same. And the other one is because of the vast difference in who bought which, in the amount of Jamal spending his money versus the amount that Halim spent his money. Okay. Again, this is just a guide, yeah? There are many other variations. There's no one set way of doing it. Okay, so whichever data that you choose, make sure you analyze it well and make sure that you choose just certain data, not all the data. Got it? All right, now, when you have when you pick and choose, then you have to be able to use good vocabulary, isn't it? Right. So the following are very important vocabulary in a data analysis. The first one is an adjective. What is an adjective? Can someone tell me what an adjective is? Anyone?
Word that is used to describe nouns.
Yes, excellent, Daniel. Yes, it describes nouns. What are adverbs?
To describe verb.
Yep, exactly. What are trend verbs? We'll get to this after this, or if no one's going to answer that. Yeah.
Movement.
Yes, that's right. Excellent. What are comparatives and superlatives?
The comparison word like tall, taller, and tallest.
Exactly, Daniel. Excellent. How about approximations? Okay, we'll discuss this a bit later also. It's more like 1/3, 30%. When it comes to superlatives and comparatives, the best example of how students can be, not just students, but any second language learner, okay, might get mixed up is because sometimes comparatives and superlatives, they don't match at all. Can anyone give me an example of a superlative and a comparative that is completely different from one another?
Bad and worse.
Bad and worse, that's right. Okay, how about the opposite of that, Daniel?
Good, better, excellent.
Good, better, best. Okay, good, better, best. Yes, so you don't say good, gooder, goodest. Okay, so this is where a good vocabulary bank must play a huge role when you're writing out not only your data analysis, but also your task too. Okay, you have to make sure that you're using the correct words. And as you know, English can have a lot of irregularities. So you have to make sure that, you have a good vocabulary bank.
Contrast.
Yes, what is that? Did someone say something? No? All right. Okay, so when you're doing comparatives and superlatives, the root word does not mean that you just put ER or EST at the back. Sometimes it changes completely. Approximations will be when you're writing out in percentages, 30% versus 1/3, half, a third of, something like that, all right? And then we're going to discuss about vocabulary if there are no trends at all. All right, slide. So these are the adjectives. So adjectives, it describes the degree of change, okay, in the graph, okay, the degree of change. So here there was a slight increase in the value of the ringgit, slight increase. So if you want to change it from the highest, like the strongest to the smallest, you can say there was a dramatic increase. So if it's a dramatic increase, what is it? Is it a little or a lot?
A lot.
A lot, that's right. So the words here, dramatic, sharp, huge, enormous, steep, all these indicate that there's a lot, isn't it? Right, there's a lot. So a steep increase, an enormous increase, a huge increase, a sharp increase, a dramatic increase. So if you write these things, it shows that the numbers, okay, have changed a lot. But when you go to substantial, considerable, significant, marked, moderate, small, and minimal, what do these indicate? Is it a lot or a little?
A little.
A little, that's right. A little, that's right. So when you're writing out your analysis, this is what you have to write, okay? You don't just say there was an increase or there was a decrease. No, you have to say that there was a dramatic increase by 54%, for example. But you do not say there was a dramatic increase by 10%. That would be wrong, isn't it? If it's 10%, then you will say there was a slight increase of just 10% in the value of the Malaysian ringgit in the past year. Okay, so when you're writing out your sentences, you have to make sure that your analysis will include, the description of the change, okay, and the data, okay, and the data itself. So here, the slight increase in the value of the ringgit from RM, I'm not really good with economy. You can say the slight increase by 10%. Or you can say there's a huge or dramatic increase of 54 to 60%, for example. Okay, that is the degree of change. Now, if you want to talk about the speed of change, so when there is a time frame there, okay, there's year, there's months, there's days, there's even maybe time from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. if they have indicated that, then you can also describe the speed of the change. So it could be rapid, it could be quick, swift, sudden. But when we get to the next one, steady, gradual, slow, you see there's a difference? Okay, so there was a rapid increase in the value of the ringgit from the first quarter of 2020, for example, from 4 ringgit per $1, okay, to 2 ringgit to per $1. I'm not quite sure, I'm very bad at that. Okay, but you have to indicate the data as well. The numbers will be given to you and you have to make sure that you are writing down the numbers. The data part must be there as well. Okay, so one describes a degree of change, the other one describes the speed of change. Okay, don't get these mixed up. All right, so the speed will only come when there is a dynamic graph with time involved. Okay. Okay, these are trend verbs, like you said just now. Okay, the increase, the decrease, does it fluctuate? Does it incline going up? Does it decline going down? Is it unstable where the line is like a zigzag? All right. Does it grow? Okay, is it increasing? How about something rocketed? What is the indication of something that has rocketed? Can someone tell me? How is the trend if it rocketed?
Upward trend?
Upward, yes, but how upward, but is it very dramatic, Shasha?
Yeah, it's
Yes,
kind of dramatic.
right. It increased a lot, doesn't it? So it's like if you see a rocket, how does the rocket go up? Okay, you can use this as well. A slump, what is a slump?
Fell down.
Yep, it like fell down. Okay, if you see a person slump, it's like his back is down like that. That's a slump. What is a plunge?
Yes.
Yes, Alawi? What's a plunge? Okay, louder, please. I can't hear you. What happens when you plunge into something?
Down or dive.
Yeah, you're falling down. That's right. Okay, you're a plunging pool, for example. You're going down into that pool. Okay, so when something falls very dramatically, you call it a plunge. Okay, call it a plunge. And these are some of the words that you can use when you're writing out your analysis. Okay, now look at this. Okay, this is the describing trends. Okay, some were given to you just now and some are new. Okay, so this one, verbs to describe: rise, jump, grow, climb, go up, increase, soar. Okay, we don't use just one word for everything. Okay, you don't say increase, increase, increase. All right, you're going to use other words as well, like rise, grow, climb, soar. Okay, how about words to describe something that is going down? You can say fall, you can say drop, you can say decline or decrease. You can say go down, plunge, plummet. Okay, but look at the arrow here. The arrow shows the degree of how much is it that this thing is increasing. Okay, so a rise will probably be the highest. A soar, okay, for me, a soar would be quite dramatic as well. but in this case, they made it like a soar, like how an eagle soars. It's like a steady type of soar. It doesn't really dramatically go up, all right? The verbs to describe something going down. Okay, plummet will be probably the worst here. Okay, to plummet from the sky. It's like the same indication, isn't it? Something to fall there very dramatically from the sky. So instead of writing something, you know, a long phrase, it had fallen dramatically, you can say it plummeted. Okay, plummeted, it carries the same meaning, but only using one word. Okay, and then the adverbs here to describe how it fell or how it rose. Sharply, quickly, rapidly, steeply, this will be the highest. Okay, considerably, significantly, substantially, this will be the second highest. And third one will be steadily, gradually, moderately, followed by slightly and slowly. So these show, like, you know, how the arrow is pointing. There's like there's movement, but it's barely there. Okay, also when there is movement that is like a straight line, you can say stay, remain, or constant, or steady, or stable. Another word you can use when something is just like a flat line is plateau. All right, that's also a word that you can use when it's just a flat line there. Okay, it's called a plateau, P-L-A-T-E-A-U. All right, next one will be the adverbs. Okay, now when you're using adverb, the degree, the describing the degree of change, it will be dramatically. You put the ly, fell dramatically, rose sharply, okay, increased enormously, steeply, substantially, considerably, significantly, markedly, moderately, slightly, and minimally, okay? But when you're describing the speed of change, you put there rapidly, quickly, swiftly, suddenly, steadily, gradually, and slowly. Okay, here. All right. Here, the adverbs to describe how, it's all here. Okay, so these are the verbs and these are the adverbs. Okay, rise sharply, rise quickly. Okay, jump considerably, jump significantly, etc. Okay. What else is there? Soar. Soar, I think soar will still stay the same. Okay, you don't say soar moderately, no. Okay, but you can say to decrease moderately, to go down moderately. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? Everyone okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, now let's go to comparatives and superlatives. So comparatives are used to compare two things. For example, the sun is bigger than the moon. Okay, but superlatives are used to compare one thing against a group of others. The elephant is the biggest land animal. I think all of you know this. Okay, but again, like what I said earlier just now, and what Daniel had given very good examples about, were the irregulars. Okay, you don't put the ER or the ST. There are some places where you cannot put ER, ST, the word changes completely. Okay, look at here. The highest percentage of students are registered in the X course. The greatest proportion of books sold are literature books. The lowest percentage of students are registered in X course. Okay, the most number of tourists to Penang come from Europe. A significant number of tourists to Penang come from Europe. The largest number of tourists to Penang come from Europe. So you can use these. All right, you can use this as the superlative. Okay, superlative. Okay, look whichever one, use the word that is most appropriate for that situation. Okay, and these are all superlatives. Now, how are they formed? Okay, how are they formed? So when it comes to words with one syllable, high, higher, the highest. Okay, high, higher, or the highest. This is one syllable. You put ER, or you put the plus the root word plus EST. Okay, words with 3 syllables or more. Productive, more productive, less productive, the most productive, the least productive. So you have to use those words there. Okay, the most, the least, more, less. Okay, when it comes to words ending in Y, the letter Y, the root word is wealthy. And then if it's a comparative, you put IER, wealthier. Okay, and if it is a superlative, you put the wealthiest. The wealthiest. Okay, this is if it ends in Y. Can someone tell me of any other words that end with Y?
Happy.
Happy, yes, happy. And then what is the happier? Yes.
Happiest.
Happiest. Is that Anis?
Yes.
Yes, I recognize your voice. Okay. All right. Happy, happier, happiest, healthy, healthier, healthiest. Okay. Short words ending with a consonant, vowel. Consonant, vowel, consonant. Okay. Consonant, vowel, consonant. So hot, hotter, the hottest. Okay. Hot, hotter, the hottest. Notice that the T, there are two T's there. Okay. So wet, wetter, the wettest. Okay, as two T's. And of course, there's the irregulars. Good, better, the best. Okay, good, better, the best. Daniel, the example you told us just now was what? Bad. Was it bad?
Good, better, excellent, and then bad,
Good,
worse.
okay, all right. So before that, it was bad. Bad, worse, worse. Was it?
Yes.
Yes, that's right. Bad, worse, worst. So the E and the T changes as well. Okay, so this is like a formula of how to make your comparatives and superlatives. The ones that you may be worried about are the irregulars, but again, there are not that many. So for words with one syllable, words with 3 syllables or more, words ending with Y, words ending with consonant, vowel, consonant, this is how you do it. Okay, and you can also do this, you know, this is knowledge for you to use for your task 2 as well. All right. Now we come to approximations. Okay, approximations, if you're very bad at math like I am, I still get confused over the easiest things, okay? So but if you see a bar graph or pie chart, the data is actually given to you. So you can actually just look at that chart and you can use the approximations already. For example, look at this cake here. Okay, look at this cake. How much of the cake has been eaten? Can someone tell me?
A quarter.
A quarter, excellent. Okay, a quarter of the cake has been eaten. All right, so, or you can write either a quarter, okay, Q-U-A-R-T-R, or you can say 1/4 of the cake has been eaten. Again, we want that variety from you. We don't want you to say the same things over and over again. So there are more than one way of saying it. For example, if it's less than half, what is a different way of saying less than half? Half is how many percent?
50.
50, that's right, 50%, right? So if it's less than half, how would you say it differently?
Less than 50%.
Exactly, less than 50%. Okay, so say that there is a bar graph or a pie chart where the data, okay, is almost the same. So the first one you can say about 50%. The second one you can say less than half. Okay, don't say the same things over and over again. And then you're going to find some bar graphs, some bar graphs where there's just an approximate number. Okay, it's in between 50 and 60. We're not sure what the numbers are in the middle. They don't give us the small lines in the middle. So you can't say approximately. You can say just a bit less than half. You can say that. Okay, because again, it's approximations. It's approximately, isn't it? It's not the exact number. Okay, so if you're given percentages, especially, you will find that you're not, you know, if you look at the bar graph, even the one that we did just now, the brothers who went shopping here. Okay, it just says here 400 0, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. For books bought by Halim, okay, 300 is there, okay, but there's a bit above 300. How would you write this down? How would you write this out if you were going to describe this?
Over 100.
All right, you can say slightly over 300. Right, slightly over 300. And the gadgets that Halim bought. No, sorry. The clothes that Jamal bought. What would you say that number? How would you describe that?
Almost 600.
Almost 600.
Almost, exactly, almost 600. We're not sure of the exact number, right? Is there something here that can be like half or double of something? Half or double, just to show you an example. Look at the books that Halim bought versus the gadgets that Halim bought. Okay, how would you describe that? The books is a little less than, the books is a little more than 300, but for the gadgets is about approximately 650. Okay, can you say that the amount of gadgets that Halim bought was just about double or just above more than double of the amount spent for books? Can we say that?
Yes.
Yes.
We can say that, that's right. So there's a variety again, right? There's a variety again of how you want to describe the graph. You don't just say that Halim bought 300, about 320 ringgit worth of books and 650 ringgit worth, about 650 ringgit worth of gadget. You can say that, okay, the amount spent on gadgets was approximately was approximately double than the amount he spent on books. Okay, so it creates that variety in vocabulary and it makes your data analysis much more interesting to read, and it shows that you have control over your language. Okay, control over your language. Okay, hold on. Let us get back to that. Okay, approximations. Okay, so this is a different way of how you can talk about the numbers, how you can talk about the percentages. Okay, but just be careful with the double and the halves. All right, because again, like I said just now, if you're not good in using double half, try to avoid it. But if you feel that, you do have the skill of writing, using approximations, by all means, please do so. Okay, it gives a huge advantage to the writer. Okay, now look at this. This one, there's no trend, right? There's no trend. So how would you write it? You can say it fell by, it rose by a quarter, a third, triple, doubled, halved. So this usually happens when you have a pie chart. Hold on, yeah. All right, when it comes to pie charts, we've had pie charts before, but they have been rare. Okay, rare sightings. It's kind of like UFO sightings, very rare, but it doesn't mean that they're not there. Okay, you have to be ready for it. Okay, so here, if you're given a pie chart, you cannot say that there was a rising or falling trend, right? You cannot see. Okay, there's no trend. Okay, when it comes to pie chart, it is static. There's no trend. So you have to use different words, okay, such as fell by, rose by, a quarter, a third, tripled, doubled, and halved. I had an exercise with my students yesterday where we had a static graph. And when it comes to static graphs, it could be quite tricky because, you're so in tune with your mind, say increased dramatically, it rose rapidly. But when it comes to a static graph, you cannot use that. Okay, so you can't say that it fell by a quarter, it rose by a third, that's about it. Okay, there's not, when it comes to descriptions, it cannot be as animated as with a dynamic graph. Okay, so you really have to make sure that when you're reading out the question, is that a dynamic graph or is that a static graph? Because if you get that part wrong, then the whole analysis will be wrong. So but we will talk about how to differentiate these two later on. Okay, now we're going to talk about the sentence structure. So there are several ways of writing out a sentence when it comes to data analysis. Okay, so you can have the word there, the subject. Verb to be will be is, was, are, were, depending on is it a present tense or a past tense. And then there's an article. All of you know what those are, right? An, or zero. And then the adjective, okay? And then the noun plus the subject. So there, okay, there, you start with there. The verb to be was. There was a slight increase. Okay, a slight increase in the number of tourists to Seoul. So there, you start with there, verb to be was, article a. Okay, the adjective is slight increase, slight, the noun is increase, and the subject is in the number of tourists to Seoul. There was a slight increase in the number of tourists to Seoul. Okay, there plus verb to be, plus article, plus adjective, plus noun, plus subject. So the subject will be quite long, isn't it? All right, another way of writing it will be subject comes first. Okay, subject plus transitive verb, plus article, plus adjective, plus noun. Okay, so the number of tourists to Seoul experienced a slight increase. Okay, the subject is the number of tourists to Seoul. The transitive verb is experienced. The article is a. Adjective is slight, and the noun is increase. Okay, so these are the, if you want to use the noun, all right, this is how you do it. Okay, now, if we're going to talk about use of verb, okay, the subject comes first, plus verb plus adverb. Okay, the number of tourists to Seoul decreased slightly, and we have the information, okay, in 2019. If you don't have the information, full stop after slightly. Okay, subject plus verb plus adverb. So the number of tourists to Seoul decreased slightly in 2019. You can even make it into two sentences. If you can see that if the data is given to you in 2019, 2020, okay, the number of tourists to Seoul decreased slightly in 2019 before increasing dramatically in 2020, for example, if it's there, okay? You can have the percentage if it's given to you as well. Okay, but what we don't want you to do is if you have numbers there, don't change it to percentage. This is not a math class, all right? This is English. So you can just stick to those numbers that have been given to you. You don't have to change it to like 33.49%. You don't need to do that, all right? It's just like half, double, just like that is fine. But don't make it too complicated where you have to change numbers to percentage or percentage to numbers. We don't want that from you. We're not there to torture you, okay? All right, let's try this. The number of tourists abroad dramatic plunged in 2020. Okay, so these are all jumbled, right? Last year, the numbers was declined to 24. Okay, look for the mistakes, people. We're going to do this together. In 2040, Malaysia will be a well-developed country. There was a gradual boom in the number of tourists in 2019. There was a steadily increase in the number of tourists to Malacca. In 2008, the number of tourists minimal increase to its highest point. Okay, so all these sentences, there's something wrong somewhere, obviously, right? Can someone tell me how to fix this first one here? Oops. The number of tourists abroad dramatic plunge in 2020.
Dramatic.
Okay, yes, grammar, definitely. How would you fix it?
Dramatically.
The number of tourists abroad?
Dramatically plunge.
Plunge dramatically.
Sorry.
Okay. Plunge dramatically in 2020. And if there's a data given to you, okay, the number of tourists abroad plunge dramatically from 800 to 50. You can say that, okay, from 800 to 50 in 2020, that's even better. Okay, if the data has stated as such. Okay. Good try, Anis. Okay, let's try Anis's style. The number of tourists abroad. What did you say just now, Anis? Dramatically plunged.
Yes.
Okay, you can have that as well. The number of tourists abroad dramatically plunged from 800 to 50 in 2020. That's also correct, Anis. Okay, all right. Last year, the numbers was declined to about 24. How would you fix this? Should I call people? Okay, who wants to volunteer? Oops, I was getting you. Oops. Okay. Last year, the numbers was declined to about 24. What is wrong with this one?
The numbers were declined.
Do you need the were or can you have the zero? The numbers declined. Which one do you think, Shasha?
Without was is actually correct.
Yeah, that's right. See, last year, the numbers declined to about 24. That is correct. Good, Shasha. Okay, next one. In 2040, Malaysia will be a well-developed country. What is missing here?
Article?
Yeah, the article. So what should the article be?
In 2040, Malaysia will be a well-developed country.
Very good, Shasha. That's right. Malaysia will be a well-developed country, not just will be well-developed country. That's wrong, grammatically incorrect. There was a gradual boom in the number of tourists in 2019. This is kind of tricky. Anyone want to try?
Amida, I want to try.
Of course.
I want, if it was me, I want to delete the gradual.
That is correct. Very good. Because what does boom indicate?
Rapidly up?
Exactly. A boom is like huge, isn't it? So how can a boom be gradual? Very good, Anis. There was a boom in the number of tourists in 2019. Excellent. Okay, there was a steadily increase. I gave it away. There was a it's so hard. Okay, there was a steadily increase in the number of tourists to Malacca. Who wants to fix this?
The word steadily doesn't suit increase.
What is that, Daniel?
The word steadily doesn't suit increase.
Okay, so what should you put?
There was a slightly increase in the number of tourists to Malacca.
There was a steady, said Daniel, only a steady increase, okay?
Okay.
All right, there was a steady increase in the number of tourists to Malacca. Fariha, you can do the next one. In 2008, the number of tourists minimal increased to its highest point. How would you fix this, Fariha? Because I saw your name there just now.
Minimal is wrong.
Okay, how would you correct it? Let's go back to the slides here, yeah? Hey, how come this one go back? Okay, slight increase. This is 1, 2, 3. Here. It's similar to this, the verb plus the adverb. So here, okay, minimal. What should minimal be?
Minimally.
Minimally, that's right. But minimally increase to its highest point. Thank you, Shasha. All right, now let's try to do this one together. So in your task one, you should only spend 20 minutes. You shouldn't spend more time than that, all right? Because you're only going to write something very minimal, okay? 150 words, I guess not much. So you should spend about 20 minutes on this task. The graph below shows the different modes of commuter transport used in London in 1960, 1980, and 2000. So that's a huge amount of time, isn't it? 40 years, okay? So commuter transport in London, the light blue is 1960, the red is 1980, and yellow is 2020. So how, and the percentage is given at the side, although it is not very clear, but it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and 40. Okay, so maximum is 40 and minimum is 0. So the modes of transportations are train, car, tube, right, and bus. Okay, train, I thought train and tube were the same thing, but it's okay. Train, car, tube, and bus. Now, when you're looking at this, okay, which one would you select? Which aspect of this graph, okay, that stands out to you? Which one stands out to you? Anybody? Here, there's no right or wrong answer because it's up to you. Which one do you think suits you the most? Which one is outstanding to you? Which one stands out to you?
The highest one.
Highest one. So which one's the highest one, Fariha?
Car.
Car, that's right, car. So what happened with car from 1960 to 2000?
Increase sharply.
Exactly, that's right. It increased dramatically, increased sharply. Or you say there was a huge increase in commuters using car as the mode of transportation. In 1960, it was approximately slightly above 5%, but in the year 2000, the number rose dramatically to almost 40%, isn't it? Right? Okay, so that is the first description. Now, a second must be given. Okay, what other aspects of this graph is outstanding to you?
Decrease.
Yeah, louder, please. Who said that?
Decrease.
Decrease, yes, Mir, decrease. So which one decreased?
Bus.
Exactly, very good. So you can say that in what happened in 1960?
In 1960.
Mm-hmm.
That's like they decreased. Hey, in 1980.
Okay.
In 1980, but like they increased, it decreased from. I didn't see the number.
You can also, yeah, I think it's about from, you can say that it's in 19, you can start with 1960, you can, okay, nothing wrong with that. So say 1960, the percentage of commuters that used buses as a mode of transportation was slightly under 35%. Okay, but this number, how would you describe that decrease, Mir?
Slightly decreased to under 13% in 1980.
Good. And then what happened?
Before dramatically it decreased to 20%.
To 15. Yes, before dramatically decreasing to 15% in the year 2020. That's right. You have it. You have it there already. Okay, but I know because it's when you're speaking, it's kind of hard to say it out loud, you know, versus when you're writing. All right. So this is the two aspects that you can pick out. Okay, which one had the increasing trend and which one had a decreasing trend. This is what you have to do inside when you're doing your task one. Okay, which one stands out to you? Okay, you can also actually, you know, if you want, you can choose train or tube as well. Okay, but both of these had more of a fluctuating trend. Okay, in the year in 1960, under 20% of commuters, okay, use the train, but this number increased slightly to approximately 27% or under 30% in 1980, before it dropped slightly to about approximately 22% in the year 2000. Okay, but again, you don't want to write about everything, so you have to write about something that catches your attention. And what will usually catch people's attention will be an upwards trend, a downwards trend, or an extremely unusual trend. Okay, and talk about that. All right. Okay. So these are some of the things that you have to remember when you're embarking on your journey to write task 1. You have to plan. You have to read the question really carefully. What do they want from you? Okay, what do they want from you? What do they want you to answer? You have to understand the visual that is in front of you. What kind of graph is it? Okay, is it static or is it dynamic? That's extremely important. Look at the axis. Okay, what does X represent and what does Y represent? Let's go back to here. Okay, the axis X and Y. Okay, Y is the percentage and X will be the mode of transport and years. All right, and the measurement. So this is in percentage. Okay, the measurement here is in percentage. And then you have to group the data together. So we did that just now, didn't we? We grouped the data of cars, okay, because it had like the most upward trend. And then we grouped buses because it had like a downward trend, a very dramatic downward trend. So this is how you can answer a data analysis. Okay. Okay, now let's go one by one. Okay, the same thing just now. Okay, the introductory paragraph states the main purpose of the chart, written in paraphrase using the writer's own words. Okay, now let's go back to here. The graph below shows the different modes of commuter transport used in London in 1960, 1980, and 2000. When you are writing the introduction, you don't want to copy and paste. Okay, you are going to paraphrase it. How would you paraphrase that sentence? The graph below shows the different modes of commuter transport used in London in 1960, 1980, and 2000.
The graph below indicates
Yes.
the different modes of commuter transport used in London in 1960, 1980, and 2000.
Okay, you can change it even more, Fariha. Can you try to change it even more? For example, 1960, 1980, and 2000. Can you change this somehow?
In 3 years, right?
Yes, so see in 3 different time periods. Okay, the graph depicts the various types of transportation used in London in 3 different time periods. You can say it like that. All right, you don't want to copy paste. If you copy paste, there's always that aspect of copying, you know, and you don't want that. So make sure that when you're writing out your introduction, you are paraphrasing the line there, okay? Because it will be given to you, so just paraphrase it. Use other words for it. Okay, next one. All right, introductory phrase states, okay, the main purpose, percentage of commuters, modes of transport, and years, okay? So actually this is a repetition. Okay, we've done the introduction, we've done the analysis. How would you do the conclusion now? Give me like a 1 sentence conclusion when it comes to this graph. Can someone tell me? Does anyone have any idea? Anis, do you have any ideas? Daniel? Picking out names that volunteered. Shasha, Fariha. Okay, you can see here that therefore, modes of transports has changed a lot in London, has obviously changed a lot in London, where cars are now being used the most and buses are being used the least. That's it. Okay, that's it. That should be conclusion. That's also the overall trend, isn't it? Right? So try not to complicate things. Make it as simple as possible. At the same time, do not add new ideas to it as well. Okay, there's always that sometimes the need to kind of like, add new information. Do not do that. You don't say that cars was used the most because maybe people can buy cars now because they are economically better well off. No, you don't say stuff like that. You only analyze the things which are inside the graph. Do not add your own ideas to it. Okay, that's a big no-no. All right, now we're going to recap a bit here. So introduction, use the information given in the title, but paraphrase as much as possible. Okay, but of course there will be some words that cannot be paraphrased. Okay, if you cannot paraphrase it, keep it as they are, but most words are or can be paraphrased. So please paraphrase it, all right? And then use the information you find on the horizontal and vertical axis of the chart. So this is X and Y, okay? And highlight key features of the chart, the highest and lowest, the most and least, the main differences, okay? But do not include any data. Use the present tense when describing the chart itself. The chart exhibits blah, 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 blah. Okay, you can use the passive tense, but still use the present tense. Okay, for example, they are divided into 2 or 3 groups. Use the past tense for the overview as it is describing the contents. The percentage soared to the highest in 2005. Obviously, 2005 is already past tense, so you have to use the past tense. Okay, and when you are going to analyze it, tips when describing trends. What are the units of measurement? For example, age, percentage, amounts, okay? Is there more than one group that is being compared? For example, 3 different countries. What are the time periods shown? Past, present, or future? Are there any differences or similarities? Okay, do not describe every small upwards or downwards movement. Do not write about things that do not appear in the graph, like what I told you just now. You should not give your opinion at all. Okay, you are just describing information that appears in the graph. You're not reading between the lines. Okay, and repeat the general overview by rephrasing it. Use different words. And do not make any more analysis. Leave it as it is. Stops there. Like what I said just now about this one here. Okay, the number of cars were used the most and the number of buses were used the least. Full stop. That's it. That's your conclusion. Okay, that will be for the closing. Okay, now what are the most common mistakes made by students in writing task 1? Number 1 is you do not understand the data. Okay, what is it that we want you to talk about? Number 2 is you do not write in full sentences. Number 3, you're listing down everything. So if we take this again as an example, you talk about train, you talk about car, you talk about tube, you talk about bus. No, don't do that. Okay, it's only going to be 150 words, so you have to just take 2, okay, group them together and talk about it, discuss it, analyze it. Where was I just now? Okay, here. Wrong subject reference. Okay, this is very, very common, yeah? For example, here. The subject reference is the percentage of commuters. Okay, what were the mode of transport? You don't say car increased in 1960. If you say car increased, sorry, you don't say car increase in 2000. Okay, what increased? The increase was the percentage of commuters that use cars. If you put here, the number of cars increased in 1960 to 2000, that is wrong. Okay, what you have to put is the percentage of commuters that use cars as a mode of transport increased from 1960 to 2000, that is correct. So make sure that the subject reference is correct. And yes, sometimes you do have to write pretty long, okay, because the subject reference is long, but you have to do what you have to do. Okay, don't say the number of buses, the number of cars. No, the percentage of commuters that use the bus, the percentage of commuters that use the train. Okay, this should be the subject reference. And then you're using the wrong verbs, adverbs, or noun, adjective, or that there are too many grammatical errors. Okay, so this is common in, I think, every type of writing, but when it comes to not understanding the data, subjects, wrong subject reference, this is very, very common when it comes to data analysis. And you have to make sure that, you know, you map out your understanding well before you embark on the actual writing out the analysis itself, right? So this is what happens when you don't understand the data. You're confused between a dynamic graph and a static graph, okay? You're not writing out in full sentences. The number of Japanese tourists who travel abroad. Okay, so what? Okay, so you have to put it completely. The number of Japanese tourists who travel abroad increased dramatically from 5 million to 15 million. Okay, incomplete. The number of books sold in bookshop A is higher. Higher than what? Okay, so complete it. The number of books sold in bookshop A is higher than in bookshop B. Okay, writing out every single detail. The percentage of students who pass the exam to them is 50%. You go on and on and on. We don't want this. This is not a descriptive essay. This is an analysis. So what you're supposed to do is the key skill here is to be able to choose the key information, describe it, and compare it with another piece of information. Okay, so only need to find two. You don't have to talk about exam A, exam B, exam C, 2013 versus 2015. No, choose which ones you want to analyze. Right? Wrong subject reference, like what I said just now. Okay, car started at the lowest at around 8 in 1960, but rose approximately 38. This is wrong. We're not talking about cars. We're talking about cars being used as a mode of transportation. Okay, so here, the use of a car as a mode of transportation in 1960, okay, was the lowest, around 8%, while in 2000, the percentage of people who use car as their favorite mode of transport increased significantly to 38%. Okay. Using wrong verbs, adverbs, or nouns plus adjectives, okay? So verb plus adverb. The number of visitors increased significantly. No, wrong. Okay, the number of visitors increased significantly. Okay, if you want to use a noun, there was a significantly increase in number of visitors and X. It should be there was a significant increase in the number of visitors. Even this itself, if you read it, it's like an incomplete sentence, isn't it? There was a significant increase in the number of visitors to Zoo Nagara in 2022, for example. Okay. Wrong grammar. This is probably the most common. Okay, wrong. You're using the article a and the or zero. Remember that sometimes there's zero article. You don't need to write an article there. For example, if you're talking about certain countries, I come from the Malaysia. That's wrong. I come from Malaysia. I come from Indonesia. I come from Thailand. But if the name of the country has got like the word United in front of it, United States, United Kingdom, that's when you put the United States, the United Kingdom. Okay, plurals, right? Some plurals are irregular. Okay, you do not put child and childs. Okay, child will be children, tooth will be teeth, foot will be feet, stuff like that. Okay, so be careful with that. Countable versus uncountable nouns, noun verb agreement. verb tenses. So past tense must be used since the data are in the past. So be careful when you're first writing out in the introduction, the chart depicts, okay, because it is as you are reading it. But when you're talking about the analysis inside, you have to make sure that it is written in the past tense. Unless, of course, it is indicated in the graph that this is year 2020 until 2030, then you will have to write it in the future tense. And there are some graphs, it started in 2018, it ends in 2015, 2025. So you will have to use the past perfect plus future tense. Okay, so be careful with that. All right. But most of the times, it will be in the past tense, most of the times, but not 100%. So just be ready for that. All right. Prepositions, in, at, on, by, from, etc. Okay, so grammar, please be careful with your grammar. Okay, let's recap. Mistake number 1 is misinterpreting the data, the diagram. Mistake number 2 is reporting it mechanically, listing it down. Number 3 is adding unnecessary details. Number 4 is adding your own opinions, your own assumptions. Number 5, repeating the same words and grammatical structures. Okay, so that is the end of that. I will stop sharing. Do you have any questions?
Madam.
Yeah.
In body paragraph,
yeah.
At least how many idea that we should put?
2.
2.
Okay, you're going to just because you're going to like somehow like, let me share my screen again. Okay. Where was it just now? Like what we did here just now. Remember, Najwa? Okay, first we spoke about the highest and then we speak about the lowest. So there's a bit of comparison there. So that makes it a good analysis.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and remember the first part of the slides just now. Very first part here. Okay, so paragraph 1, introduction. Paragraph 2, describing one group of data. Paragraph 3, describing another group of data. And then you're going to put the conclusion inside the paragraph 3. And the conclusion will only be like one sentence where you're writing out the overview, but using different words. Faham, Najwa?
Yes, I understand it now.
Okay, understand?
Yes.
All right, good. Any other questions?
Madam.
Yes, Ileana.
Do you have an example of an essay that we can make as a reference?
I do, but there's a lot actually. Okay, there's a lot. What you can do is you can email me, okay, and I will email it back to you. Or you can team with your class teacher, okay, and get some from them. My email address is azuraar. Where do I write it? Here.
Yeah, you can type it out in the chat box.
Okay,
yeah.
I've typed out my my email address there. So if you need some samples, okay, you can email me, right? But it will be kind of hard for me to mark or to look at everyone's papers. Okay, so maybe you can discuss with your class teacher whether they can help you with your data analysis. Okay, I think some teachers have done that, okay, throughout the semester where they have exposed their students to data analysis and they have done some exercises on them. But if they didn't have time to do it, then maybe, you know, I can give you the graph, but they will have to mark it for you. Okay?
Okay, madam, thank you.
Okay, Liana, all right.
Madam Azura,
yeah,
there's a question from YouTube chat box. Yeah.
Okay.
The question is from Tijani Aliu. I don't know how to pronounce this
Okay.
name. The question is, what is the difference between an overview and a conclusion?
Okay, it's actually the same thing, but rephrased. Okay, the overview is written in the introduction, all right? But the conclusion is actually the overview written in a paraphrased way as a conclusion. Okay? Any other questions?
Any more questions? You can type in the chat box if you are shy to ask directly to the speaker. There's a request for the slide sharing. So can it be done through the teachers or how? Do you have it in Google Slides that you want to share, Madam Azura?
How do I share it here?
If you have it in Google Slides, then we can share the link. Or otherwise, we have it in PowerPoint and we will share with the teachers, and the teachers can always share with their students.
Okay, maybe we'll do that. Did I do it? Yes, but it was on Google Slides just now. So how do I attach it?
You go to the link and copy and paste here
okay.
and allow access to all.
All right, hold on.
Or you share with me, type my email, then I can share it here.
Let's see, I'm going to try to share it here.
All right, I'll try and share it here.
Okay.
You allow access or not?
Oh, I'm not sure. Okay, you probably need to access it from me, okay? If you want the slides.
Or you will have to edit below the setting.
Hold on.
Yes, it says request access, yeah?
Okay, so hold on, let me change the restricted. Okay. All right, done. Okay, if you try that, can you access it now?
Yes, madam.
Okay,
Yes.
all right,
thank
good.
you so much.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay, anything else? All right, if you don't have anything else, then I hope that was beneficial for you. If you have any more questions, you can always email me. Okay, if you're my student, you can WhatsApp me. Okay, and if you are my student, then we are going to have more activities on this. All right. I prefer like a hands-on thing, because sometimes if I just talk, then I don't know whether you understand or not. You know, so it's something that you have to do, right? Because only upon application that you can see whether or not you have mastered the skill. All right, if you don't apply it, then it's going to be very difficult, okay, to see whether or not you know how you can tackle task 1. It's very different from task 2. It's very straightforward. It's very technical, okay, and it is something that you do not need to put your personal opinion at all. Okay, everything is based on the graph and is only 150 words. So please bear that in mind. Okay, that you're writing minimally, but the information, of course, must be maximum information in minimal number of words. Okay, the words must be, there must be a variety of words. There must be, you know, the analysis must be there. All right. What catches most students is that they tend to get the static graph and then the dynamic graph mixed up. Okay, and once they get that mixed up, then that's when, you know, the marks will go lower because the way that they analyze it will be very, very wrong. Okay, so make sure that if there's a time frame, okay, there's time is dynamic. If there's no time frame given to you, it is static. So there's no movement of time there. There's no movement. Okay. All right,
Okay.
then. Okay, thank you, everybody. I hope that was beneficial for you, and I apologize for any mistakes that I may have made just now. Yeah, thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, madam.
Thank you so much, madam.
Thank you, all of you.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madam Azura, for sharing with us. That was very informative, and I hope you're clear about dynamic and static analysis of graph. All right, and please don't forget to fill in the evaluation form, yeah, which I have already shared. Any other reminder, Madam Azura?
Okay, we still have time. Okay,
Yeah, we still have time, actually.
we still have
Yeah.
time for this data analysis. So because this is for EPT, this will not be for your final assessment. Okay, so EPT will be in February, right? It will be, so if you want to have like exercises, if you want to, you know, discuss more about this, if I were you, I would go to your teachers. I'm sure they will help you. Okay, approach your teachers, and you know, maybe they can give you exercises and they can check your work for you, inshallah, if they have time, because right now all of us are very bogged down with marking, not just pre-sessional, but EAW and EOP as well. All right, but try to talk to them about providing you with exercises and all, so that you know you can master the skill. Okay, and if you are my student, you know where to approach, where to contact me.
Inshallah, the exercises will come to you because the course coordinator of each level are preparing some questions based on the presentation that you had just now, Madam Azura. So you will receive some exercises, and please let your own class teacher, writing teacher, to explain to you for the answers or for whatever the practices that you may have done. Yeah, it will be better if you can approach your own class teacher. Okay, and there was also a question regarding when the EPT is. I believe that you are already aware that the EPT exam is going to be sometime next week, Madam Azura, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't know.
It's in February.
Oh, it's in February, yeah.
Wait, let me check my calendar.
Because not everybody will be eligible to sit for EPT.
Right.
Yeah. Your teacher will explain to you, if you have to sit for the EPT paid exam, then it's not going to be in February. It will be in semester 2. Yeah? If you are in level 6, then probably you can sit for EPT, provided that you receive 60% of your achievement tests. Yeah, your teachers will announce what your marks will be like for you to sit for the EPT examination. Okay, so for the rest of the levels, level 1 up to level 5, you will have to wait for the announcement by your class teacher. And of course, the date will be announced also. Yeah, Madam Azura, do you have a date with you?
Yes, that's right. I don't have, wait, I'm trying to hear this updated for you. Hold on, yeah. Okay, so this morning we just finished our listening, speaking has been done, then Chinese New Year. Okay, so your exam will be next week. Final assessment will be on the 3rd for writing and reading. Okay, EPT will be on from the 7th to the 11th of February. Yep. Okay, so EPT writing, it will start with writing, reading, listening, then speaking. All right, 7th to 11th of February. Okay, got that?
Okay.
Okay, this will be during week 16.
2 more weeks from now.
Yeah, 2 more weeks. So you have time.
Yeah, you have time, yeah, for the level 6 students, yeah.
Yeah, for the level 6 students, yes.
Yeah, for those who are planning to sit for the EPT, paid EPT, it will not be very soon. It will be in semester 2, the first week when the semester 2 opens, yeah. So you have to check with IFLA, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. Register when we announce the registration for the EPT paid, then you have to register, you pay, and then they will give you the date. That is what I know about how I was informed about how you should go for the EPT paid, for the paid EPT, 450. All right. Okay, so if that is all from us, from you, Madam Azura, yeah, I thank you again for this very informative session.
Ibrahim, did you want to ask a question?
No, I am not asking a question, rather to thank you, inshallah, to extend our sincere appreciation and profound gratitude for this very wonderful session that you have shared with us. We have found it very useful and informative. Inshallah, we hope what we have acquired, we are going to implement it into practice, inshallah, tabaraka wa ta'ala. جزاكم الله خيرا وبارك الله فيكم وزادكم الله إيمانا وعلما وإخلاصا وهدى وتقوى. I wish each and every individual have a flying color in his examination, inshallah.
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 Thank you for the dua, Ibrahim.
Yeah. Brother Ibrahim, were you the one who spoke in the last session also?
Yes, I am the one.
During the Google Meet session, yeah, alhamdulillah. Thank you again for attending, yeah, and participating. I hope you learn a lot from the sessions that we have.
Of course, alhamdulillah. Inshallah.
Okay, you are level 6, right? Sorry. You are level 6, right?
Yes, level 6.
Postgraduate?
Postgraduate.
Okay, all right. Inshallah, you'll be in kuliah soon.
Inshallah, inshallah.
Okay. Yeah, Madam Azura, you have something else to say?
I just want to say thank you to everyone again. Yeah.
Okay, that's all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah.
Goodbye, everybody. Assalamualaikum. All the best to all of you.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Madam Azura.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam.
Inshallah.
Thank you, Madam.
You're welcome. Zura, jangan keluar dulu tau.
Madam, can I ask you?
Yeah.
Which madam? Madam Azura, yeah, sure.
Now I am at level 5 and it is my highest level because the course I need band 5. So can I take the EPT?
I think she can, right? Because that's her minimum level.
Wait, no, cannot. The result for the achievement test will soon come out, and then you will check with your principal teacher, and then she will announce who will be eligible to sit for EPT. Yeah, for now you just have to wait. Yeah. Your which kuliah again, sister? Kuliah of Quran and Sunnah, is it?
Arkom, Arabic Communication.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So that means, Diana, you have to do, I think they have to do very well for their assessment, Camille.
Yeah, they have to achieve the 60% and above.
All right. Good luck, Eliana.
Okay, Madam. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Ustazah, kejap nak tanya Zura. So tadi apa tu? Slide tu dah share. So I can access lah. Kalau I boleh access, nanti I share je lah dekat cikgu kalau dia nak.